Okay.
Hi guys, thanks for waiting for a moment. I was just getting set up with Amanda, and we're going to talk to you guys about money again, and we're going to talk about sound money because we really care enough about you guys that we think that this is important stuff. We care enough about people right now and what's going on in the world to spread this message as much as possible. And I have pinned her link up at the top of the chat. You can see it at all times. Also, it's on the screen. So say hi to Amanda-Akers. Hi, Amanda.
Hey, Erin. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me on here again.
Yeah, I'm grateful you're here. I think that you have a lot of intelligent, good conversation that deserves to be heard. And the reason we continue to talk to you guys about sound money is because we've told you, but we'll tell you again. This could have literally saved our butts in our life. I mean, it's actual real money. I don't know about you, but I didn't know anything about gold and silver before this company was introduced to me. What about you?
I knew absolutely nothing. I remember watching Tales, and just so that was stuck in my head from a kid since I was a kid, and I just thought it was something only rich people had, and didn't know how to get it, where to get it, what it was worth. I knew nothing.
Right, and I remember carrying around like this coin that Bonnie Parman gave me that I didn't even know what. Well, it was a round. I had a buffalo round, and I probably for 6 months didn't understand why I should show anybody that. How long did you buy gold and silver right away, or when you joined up with the company? Did you buy gold and silver right away, or did you just like kind of not know what to do with it? Because it took me 6 months.
Well, it took me 4 months to make the decision to become a member. So for 4 months, I had several friends show this to me and talk to me about it. And it took me that long to make a decision to become a member because I did believe in everything they taught me. Um, and I was really interested in learning more. And I just wanted to be part of something really important, you know? So, and of course, I wanted to make another stream of income, but it did take me 4 months to get my membership. Once I got my membership, the only gold and silver I was buying was MS 70s in the beginning, just because I understood those right away. But it probably took me 6 months before I bought before I started stacking.
Okay, so MS-70s being those graded coins, I even pull up a picture of them. Most of you guys know by now what the MS-70s are, but we she makes a good point because I think when we first started this, it was hard for us to know. And this company actually pushes the MS-70, which we totally understand now why. And let me know if the sound is better. Would appreciate it. The We know why now because we understand the collectible side of it. But kind of in the beginning, we're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm supposed to buy these, and I did too, and I still do, obviously. But I didn't. I wasn't. I was able to sign up people enough that I wasn't buying them all that often, and so I didn't even really have these. I think my dad was. He signed up with me. He was buying them. But what we didn't understand at all about this was one of the things that they have told us, and it makes sense. I mean, it's one thing I've learned without this company, without even this company, and before this, because I was in debt and I wanted to get out of debt. And in order to get out of debt, I had to learn to live below my means. And in order to learn to live below my means, I had to stop spending money, and I had to I moved into this tiny apartment. I mean, I'm tiny. It was like 500 square feet with my kids, and so this slide I pulled up says, "Are you working harder for more money to cover the basics?" And how many people, and this might be you, it might have been you, and you can tell me here in a second, and I'll just say my part on it. But how many people are working really hard just for the basics, but and they're going into debt all over the place? Like me, I mean, I was probably 150,000 dollars in debt, if not more, and now I'm down to like $24,000 in debt. But you continue working, thinking one of these days I'm just going to be out of debt. One of these days I'm just going to everything's going to be fine. But you're working the same job or maybe even a lesser job because your raises aren't going along with the inflation. We'll talk about that, but I I think your story is similar about just trying to get the bills covered, not being able to sleep at night, wondering if your check was going to clear.
Oh, absolutely. I was working my ass off just to cover the basics and using credit cards to cover what I couldn't. There was many times I was worried about whether or not I would have enough to pay my mortgage. So 100% I understand that. And I recently learned that 44% of Americans as of May 2017 could not cover a $400 emergency expense and rely on credit cards. That was me. And that was in 2017. I can only imagine what that percentage is now. So I know it all too well.
Well, you talked about not being able to sleep at night, and this is it's certainly not just you, right? It's me. I'm talking about worried about checks clearing. You're like, oh my gosh, am I going to have money in the bank by the time that this goes through? And I would often at the beginning of the month, any bill I had at the beginning of the month was the worst because I get my main sum of money. People know that I do get Social Security for my husband's death, but that's a pretty good chunk of money. But that doesn't come until the second Wednesday. So all those bills that are on the first, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have money. That's my internet, my phone. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have money in there to cover it. And even now, sometimes it's close, but I'm grateful that I have this Patreon where you guys have donated money to me, and that's what covers my phone bill and now my internet bill. It's amazing. But talk about fear. I mean, you're just like you said, losing sleep. You're just like, I don't. How many times have you gone negative in your bank account?
Yeah, I would lay in bed many nights and oh my gosh, I would be rich if I had all my NSF fees returned. Non-sufficient funds or overdraft fees. I don't even know over the years, hundreds. But my clients, I'm in the beauty industry, so a lot of my clients would write me checks, and so I would just pray that they'd go through in the right order, because if the big one didn't clear before all the little ones, it was a snowball effect. It was terrible waking up in the morning having looking at my bank account when it was like that. So I understand, Aaron.
I don't know if many people know this, but I didn't know this, and now I know that if you have a big bill coming out, they'll actually pull the big bill before your little ones on purpose so that they can run NSF fees on everything else. So, for instance, over the weekend one time, I had $116 in my account. It was available.
I didn't know that, and that happened all the time.
Right. And it's probably happened to a lot of people. So, just to make it, I'm going to try to paint a picture for people in case they're not aware. I know that you understand, but for anyone who's not aware, I had $116 in my account. It was available, and it would have covered all of the smaller things that I had done over the weekend. Anything I charged over the weekend that was small would have been fine. There was a bill that was set to come out. The bill was for $70 or something. Maybe there was two bills, I can't remember. But they took the big first so that every little thing that came after was an NSFB, NSFB, NSFB because the big thing I remember I spent some money or two bills came out. I think so they took the two big bills first. That put me negative. So I got fees for those just because I went negative because of it at the same time. And then all those little ones from over the weekend from the supposed available money gave me more NSF fees. So I had eight $35 fees from one weekend of a few small things that I had paid for. So what I ended up doing is I went in and signed off a form that says I can't go negative anymore. So they can no longer make my bank account go negative. So instead of getting those fees and going negative on eight charges, which they did to because I went in there and I said, your algorithms are messed up. I threw a tantrum. I said, this is ridiculous. You have it set up to do this to people. This is why I left Wells Fargo in the first place, and I'm at a local bank now, but it's like they took off the charges. But anyway, you can sign a form, guys, so that you don't go negative, because then they can't not do that to you. Instead, it just gets sent back. You don't even get charged from the other company. It just gets sent back, and then you just got to pay it, then you just got to pay it manually.
Yeah. Wow. Yep, it's crazy. I'm super thankful that those friends of mine shared this with me when they did, and I was able to change that because I really thought that that was just the way my life was going to go. I was hopeless, and being a single mom, it was no way to raise your kids. So, and I know you know that too, Aaron, and I'm sure many others on here. So I'm grateful for my sound money.
Right. So on the third page, what we both have a book of, but also the slideshow says is what you said a minute ago. As of May 2017, 44% of Americans said they could not cover a $400 emergency expense and would rely on credit cards, selling something, or borrowing the money, and if such an event arose. And the question that we would ask you guys is, what's happening with your money? And we'll go on and talk about the dollar in a second. But is that, I mean, how many people would have $400? The only reason I have it now is because I have gold and silver. Now I don't. But here's the thing: is if I put money, you can tell me if you're like this. If I put my dollars in a savings account, or if you, let me ask you, Amanda, if you have dollars in a savings account, are you more likely to spend that savings money as you are to sell your silver to pay for something, or are you more likely to actually hold on to your silver, whereas you would just be spending that savings maybe on frivolous things even?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was completely blown away after a year of having a membership with 7K and how much my assets in gold and silver was, because I never had that much in my savings accounts prior to that, ever. If I put $200 in there, it was gone in a matter of days or weeks, depending on what come up. So
How much?
you're exactly right.
How much? Now you don't keep. You don't. We're not giving out your address, and you probably keep your silver in a safe somewhere or whatever. But how much do you think you have in silver? And I'll tell you what I think I have. But how much do you think you have in silver and gold right now? Even if you want to consider your collectibles.
Easily 10 or 12,000.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
I've never had that much in savings.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's freaking awesome.
That is, geez, I don't know that I have that. My dad, he has a lot more than I do, and we do this kind of stuff together. But it's hard to say because I actually have more collectibles now. I would say I have at least 5,000, but maybe more because you just never know with some of this stuff. Kind of like some of these state collectibles that we've talked about. The California one just came in. It's a 2020. And getting a 2020 California, I'm like, whoa, people are going to want that. And what I'm telling people, I'm showing them a picture, is the label here you can see is the states. You got Idaho, Montana, Texas, Florida. And they're doing every 50 states, and these are like highly collectible. I know you just sold a couple for more than what you bought them for.
Yep. I made $50 on 2 ounces. It was pretty awesome. I probably could have got more if it wasn't me trying to help out a friend to complete a collection, but that's the beauty of it. You can do what you want with it.
So Mr. Gambino says,
and you mentioned about the safe place to keep.
Go ahead.
Oh, shoot, I just stuffed a strawberry in my mouth. Go ahead.
Well, you were going to say something about a safe place, so keep that in mind. I'm going to say this real quick. Mr. Gambino said worked in finance for 10 years, and it was called Deadline to Breadline. How many days could someone survive without income? Worked out 30 days on average. It was a term used in bank branches with financial advisors, and the sick thing was it was used as an opportunity to sell stocks and shares. Why save in an account with 3% interest when you could invest and get 50% in stocks and shares? Sounds like the roaring 20s before the Depression. No kidding, because everybody's trying to buy into stocks right now because they think it's a good idea. But what if the dollar goes to zero, right? If you wouldn't mind, tell us about this slide that talks about the dollar starting in 1913.
Yeah, well, as I'm sure most of you know, in 19 the Federal Reserve was created. That's when they started printing our money, and our money was backed by gold 100%, and which was perfect. So we didn't have to carry around a bunch of gold and silver. We could carry around these dollars. You could literally go to the bank and exchange it straight across for gold. And as you can see through this chart, it declined over the years because they were printing more money and not back. And then by 1971, Nixon closed the gold window and completely took us off the gold standard and put us on the world's modern day fiat currency, which is the US dollar, which I'm sure you know is fake money. money. It's backed by absolutely nothing but government promises, and it's pushed by our government. And it's pretty disgusting. So in 2013, our dollar had become worth about 5 cents. So everybody thinks everything's getting more expensive and inflated and all this. It's our dollar. We just need more dollars to purchase. It's the dollar being deflated, or just not backed by anything. So I guess that was the wrong word, but so that was 2013, 7 years ago. I can't even, what are we probably sitting at, a penny on our dollar? Maybe, who knows? I'm pretty sure in my lifetime it might tank.
I think it could. Yeah, I interrupted, so you finish.
I'm pretty sure, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, and like, for example, in 1913, if you had a trust with $1 million in it and you lost the same value as we see in this chart over the course of these years, you'd be sitting on 40 or 50 grand. That's kind of terrifying.
Well, that's kind of the odd thing.
I feel real secure in where I'm putting my assets, and it's not in paper currency.
Right. If you put $2,000 in the bank in 1965, today it'd be worth way less than the $2,000 it was worth in 1965. But if you put silver and gold away back then, it would be worth several times more. I mean, we're talking, I think, fourfold for silver, and like tenfold for gold. So if people think that gold can't go tenfold of what it is now, I guarantee you it can, especially if we go into hyperinflation like South America has seen, where they still have a currency, but they're all millionaires if they're holding it. Because it's like very little of it is worth anything. And so you need a lot of it to buy something. So now you're a millionaire because it's worthless. It's kind of a joke. It's like everybody's a millionaire if they're even holding any money at all down there. It's like, but they can't buy anything with it. So that's kind of the joke. The point is that it's become worth nothing to where they're even burning it. But yeah, it's probably down to at least a penny. With hyperinflation, we just saw this. We're seeing now there are businesses that are charging what's called a COVID fee. I don't know if you have seen this, Amanda, but they're charging a COVID fee when you go out to restaurants and stuff. That's to cover their hyperinflation of what the new prices are for food.
Oh my gosh, this is getting very concerning.
Right. What are you going to do if all you're using is dollars and stacking dollars? What are you going to protect yourself with? And I don't want to get off too far off the topic, but crypto may not be a bad idea, but I have concerns about like a power grid going down or the internet going down, and then your crypto's not really there anymore. I mean, I guess it could be in the future if things came back up, but okay. So I'm on this. So after the dollar conversation there, we saw it dropped. There's this slide that kind of talks about.
Go ahead.
I think Chris. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I was kind of going on what. So everything is going digital. I mean, whether we like it or not, that's going to happen. It's happening. And what if we had a place where we could have all of our money sitting in gold and silver, right? We had all our money sitting in gold and silver. Every time we got a paycheck, we put it in the account, turned it into silver, right? And then when we needed to pay a bill, we clicked a button, turned it into cash, and we pay that bill. But the rest stays in gold and silver. Do you think that'd be pretty cool?
Right, yeah. That would be.
We have that place now.
Right.
I'm definitely utilizing it.
Yeah.
I think it sounds, obviously, so many people are stashing their cash right now. With everything that's going on, they're pulling their cash out of the bank, they're stuffing it in their mattress, and they actually think they're doing themselves a favor. And I'm looking for them to show them what we've got here, because it's pretty sad when they wake up and every day the food prices are going skyrocketing. My rent went up as of May 1st. With this going on, my rent went up.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe that?
That does seem like it'd be the but I kind of understand, because how many, they probably have people that aren't paying.
yeah, so I know what I'm doing with my cash. It's we've got a really cool thing now called Money Wallet, and we're one of a kind. Nobody else has done it, but you can actually carry your assets in gold and silver, and with the click of a button, you can turn it into cash, and it's swapped out. And this would be a much more complicated and longer YouTube video we'd have to do on this, but you could literally say, "Oh, I got to pay my light bill. It's $110." So cash in $110 worth of my silver and pay my light bill, and you could do it just by the click of a
Okay,
button
you're
and keep
educating
your
me now.
money in gold and silver. I think it's freaking genius.
You're educating me now. Is this the new app that I have? Or
Yeah, we've got a Sound Money wallet coming out at the end of the month. Ah,
oh wow.
well, it's through it's as a member. That's one of our member benefits. No, we do have a new app which is pretty amazing too. But no, the Sound Money wallet. I mean, listen, everybody's going digital, right? Our cash is not worth squat. So if you get paid $500 at your job, that's great. But when your rent goes up 600 and you can't pay it, now what? Well, the way I see it, I take my 500, I buy my gold and silver. It's kept in a Sound Money vault, which is in Idaho Falls, Idaho. If anybody wants to know, I'm sure they'll be popping up around the country over the years. I don't know. That's my guess. I don't know. But it's kept there, and it's completely monitored by us in our back office. And when it's time for me to, pay a bill or whatever, I can turn it in, click the button and cash out, I don't know, 10 silver eagles, and now I got a couple $100 and I go shopping or I pay my bill or whatever. I think it's the future, and it makes sense, and it's really truly, in my opinion, the only way to protect our money. I don't know the stock market. I'm not even going to talk about the stock market or crypto. I have not tapped into either one. I just know, where I'm at in my life right now. There will come a day where I look at crypto because I do believe that's something, and I think that's something huge. But today's not the day. Right now, this makes sense.
Yeah, so, gosh, this is great. I mean, okay, so this was probably on the weekend. We had an event where we were learning a whole bunch, and I I'm a little bit flighty, and I forgot, and I ended up doing some other stuff outdoors too. But I got in on some of it, but I certainly missed this part. So, geez, I mean, wow, that is great because like you said, I mean, maybe you're so they what they do at 7K Metals, guys, and I'm telling Mr. Gambino, who's in the UK, we're in the UK now. You can sign up with your UK currency and do it with the UK currency, and I don't believe we have to hold it in a vault in the US at all anymore. Same for Australia, and I think Singapore. We had to hold it in a vault before, but anyway, with the wallet, they will. We actually have a vault at 7K Metals in Idaho Falls. They have their own personal vault now for the business, where they would probably, I believe, and I'm not even going to say probably, I know they would because I know these guys personally. They will hold your silver. They're not just going to go, oh, let's just pretend and call and treat it like a dollar. We'll just pretend she bought 5 silver eagles, because what they do, and they know they can't do, is they can't pull a JP Morgan and sell futures, which is saying, here you go, buy this gold and silver, but here's a piece of paper to say that you have it. They'll actually put it away because they can't oversell their stock. And this is why we're seeing our prices, unfortunately, are going a little higher than other businesses right now, because they're selling from what they know they have and they know they can ship out, where other companies aren't doing that. They don't know if they're going to get it and ship out in a few days or if it's going to be 8 weeks. Wouldn't you say?
I apologize, Aaron. You broke up a lot. I'm not quite sure what you just said. But
Oh man,
um
sorry
oh
about
shoot,
that.
I had something good I wanted to say.
Go ahead and go. Yeah.
It's okay. So if you were to, let's just say you were keeping your gold and silver in a depository. You mentioned JP Morgan Chase and all that. They're backed by the Federal Reserve. They can liquidate in a depository. I mean, truly they can, because they've got that the federal insurance or whatever on it, right? I don't know the technical words, sorry. But this is a privately owned vault. It's untouchable. They legally do not have to release to the feds or government, nobody, nothing. They don't have to say who's keeping it there, what they got there. It's completely privately owned by 7K Metals, and it is a private vault. They cannot touch it. They could never pull anything like that, like you just mentioned. So it's a pretty incredible thing that they've done. they spent 15 months coming up with this and putting it together, and it's finally being unveiled. And it's just in time for this crash that's happening in our currency right now. Well, it's been happening, but now it's really hitting the fan. So, but yeah, so whether you're in the UK or Singapore or anywhere else in the country, you can store at this vault and still do the same thing and exchange it, Well, I shouldn't say that yet. I know Singapore and Australia, they are launching, but they're not fully launched yet. I know the UK's open, which is so exciting. I got a few friends there that are taking a look. But also, so I have some information here. It's all in video form. I can send it in an email. Erin can send it. So if somebody wants more information on what we're talking about, I could send you an email if you type it in the chat, or get a hold of Erin, or I don't know how you guys do it here on YouTube, but we can send you an email. You can just simply click on the buttons. It'll tell you all about the wealth system that we have going on here, the Sound Money Wallet and the Sound Money Vault. And then we've got a new VP in Singapore. If you know anybody in Singapore, we've got all kinds of cool stuff here we can share. So we'll definitely get it to you guys if it's something you want to know more about.
Yep, I just put in the chat. And
I'm sorry, I pulled us way off track with this.
No, that's great. I'm gonna delete this troll real quick, because trolls can just go away. There's people that get mad because I think that they're either a troll or their life just sucks and they're upset about it. I'm glad you have all that information. What I did is I put my email in the chat, and I said just email me if you want the Sound Money wallet information or the Sound Money Vault, and please do send that to me. You might know my email, but it's ladyliberty@countermail.com. Yeah, okay. Just send that to me because I need to see that. I obviously dropped my mic. I was not educated on that, and this is exciting. I'm glad to hear it because I think it's something people would use. And what's interesting is
we got busy lives.
Yeah, right. If it's okay, so let's say you bought a bunch of silver and you had it at home and you did need to sell it in emergency. What would be the first place you would try to take it if you had to sell it in an emergency?
God, I hope that never happens to me. I guess people are using pawn shops, unfortunately, but that breaks my heart. That's the cool thing about this. Right now, if I want to liquidate some of my gold and silver, there's no emergency for me. So I would tell you what I would do. If I needed some cash and I needed to liquidate, I would call up 7K. I would tell them what I got. I would send it to them. They would assay it and they would send me a check. Now that turnaround time is going to be like maybe 14 days, 21 days, right? So in an emergency, that's not going to work. That's the cool thing about this Sound Money Vault. So I order 10 ounces of gold. I have them stored in my vault. Well, I need some cash right now. I click the button, the transfer's done. So, but at the same time, I could have my gold and silver collected at any time also.
Don't you find it crazy that inflation is so obvious, especially right now? People are suffering, they're losing their livelihoods, and yet they're going to buy back into stocks like Mr. Gambino mentioned because they think, oh, this is a good time to buy, even though they just probably lost everything they had in a 401k or something else. And I know somebody who has lost probably half of her retirement because of this, and yet she's looking at buying into stocks again. She used to be a member of this, and somehow she's still not connecting the dots and not clicking. And we have some people in the chat and listening that are definitely members, but they don't know how to talk to this about people. I don't know if this is not a right or wrong question answer to this question. I'm asking, how are you talking to people about this right now? Because I'm feeling way more like I need to just shake them even a little harder than I ever did before. I'm kind of like, but how are you doing it? How are you telling people? Because we have people that don't seem to know how to, they're not sure how to talk to people about this.
Well, and for the people who are unsure how to talk to you about it, I say don't, and just call them up and ask them to jump on. We have calls every day during the week that you can send somebody to listen in, But even more simply than that, we have Zooms also throughout the week, but we have this app and it has videos in it that really does all the explaining for us by the professionals. So they simply put it into just a few minutes, 10 or 12 minutes, and explain what it is the person is wanting to know. And we can pick what that is. You know, why should you buy gold and silver, and how? And how do you make money if you want to start your own business here with 7K metals? Um, and how to share it with people. We have all of these by the click of a button. You can send it to your friends and family to take a look at. When they get serious and they want to do something, then you just simply want to get them on the phone with your sponsor. And in this case, that would be Aaron. You get them on the phone with Aaron. That's the best way it's going to work. For me, I call Colleen or Pastor Sharon, and it's just simple. It's very simple. You don't want to get complicated. And once you start to try to answer all the questions and they see you don't have the answers, that gets them to start doubting you. So that's why I say, don't just have them listen to or watch the videos, listen to a call, get them on with your sponsor. That's what we're here for. We're not here just for ourselves.
So I'm going to pull up the website actually because I want people who are members to know where they can go to see these events. Oh, I can't even type. Because I think a lot of the trouble is if you don't even know how to get in your kind of maneuver your back office, you might have trouble. Talking to anybody about it.
I understand that. I had a very difficult time. It took me 10 months to sell my first membership, and I was very discouraged. And it was my own. I was holding myself back because I wanted to be the expert. I thought I had to know it all and I had to have all the answers. So that's how I was coming at people. Well, they could tell I didn't know, or I didn't know what I was talking about. So, just be honest. I'm not sure about that. Even if you know the answer, say, I don't know about that, but let me grab my friend. She knows, and call up Amanda or call up Aaron. And then you have the validation also. That's super important that you have validation. They don't want to think you're the only person in the world that's doing this,
Right. Well,
This is a team effort.
That does help. It's just I've really want to I really want to push that, you guys. It really helps to get a third party involved when you're talking to somebody. I've seen it work as the person that somebody called. They called, they used me as the third party to just kind of explain a few things. But here's on this events, it shows everything, every Zoom meeting, every webinar, everything that we're doing. And there's a lot of the coffee with the leaders while they're still doing that. Geez, I mean, I haven't looked at this in a while, but they're doing some training on Zoom. I mean, there's a lot of stuff at your fingertips, guys. You just got to get back in here and look at it. Or if you're not a part of it, you got to get involved because we are selling the product. We have it. We aren't hoarding it like JP Morgan and then selling futures. I'm going to click over to this. I know you know this, so do you mind talking about the Mustang in 1965 compared to now?
Oh yeah, I love this example. This is really cool because one of my family members had one. So if you had 2,500 ounces of silver or $2,500 cash, they were equal back in 1965. A dollar was worth an ounce of silver. You could walk into the Ford dealership in 1965 and drive out of there with a brand new Ford Mustang, right? That's pretty awesome. Fast forward to today. If you had that same $2,500 cash and you go to the Ford dealership, they might sell you some tires, right? or the front seats. I don't know what you're going to get for $2,500, but you have that same 2,500 ounces of silver and you cash them in, you're driving off the lot with two brand new his and hers Mustangs. I like that idea. Yeah. Much better.
Yeah, two of them. So for the same silver, you could buy one back in the day. Today, you're buying two, and that's just on the Mustangs. I'm sure you're familiar with this.
Even if we weren't talking Mustangs.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, even if we're not talking Mustangs, $2,500 cash back in 1965 was worth 2,500 ounces of silver. $2,500. If you took that $2,500 cash and buried it out back in a shoebox under the old apple tree, and next to it you buried that 2,500 ounces of silver. You dug out that 2,500 ounces of silver today. You've got a ton of money, and that cash is still, it's not, they're not, they're no longer equal. Look at the purchasing power of that silver now.
So you're probably, I know you are, but you're familiar. What about a house? What would we be looking at in a house value compared to that year to now?
Well, back in 1965, $10,000. Let's say you had 10 grand. What would you do with that? If you could buy a house in full for your family, or you could buy gold, right? Well, knowing what I knew 3 years ago, I would have picked the house and been very happy with that choice. And now today, based on the housing inflation rate, it's worth 85 grand. That's a pretty good, I'd be happy with that, right?
Right.
But what about that gold? What about the guy who chose to put his 10 grand in gold? They're sitting on almost $500,000. That's a much bigger house.
Yes, it is. And
or 10 houses.
And here's the thing is, let's say everybody's like, well, I need to buy a house. Oh, I got the money for a house. Well, let's say you just did a little bit smaller house and put some of that money into gold or some of that money into silver. So we're not saying don't ever buy a house and just put all your assets into gold and silver and forget everything else. But that's what's called
right.
diversifying. You should put probably at least 30% of what you're buying into, whether it's real estate or even stocks or bonds or whatever. I think you should put at least 30% into gold and silver. Now, I personally am putting more like 90% into gold and silver of my extra dollars, because I don't make enough money to go buy real estate at all right now. Maybe I will next year, because in this business of 7K metals, I don't know if you guys realize, I know Amanda knows, but I don't know if you guys realize this is a company you can make money with. And I have personally earned 20, pull it up, I think about 20 grand. Now, 20 grand in 3 years, you could go, well, that's not enough money to do much with. Well, it is when it's doubling each year. So I've earned 19,260. But the first year I only made $2,000.
And it is when you turned it into silver and gold.
Yeah, right. They paid for my gold and silver.
They paid for it.
So far we're
well, and Mr. Gambino said I started buying gold in 2014, and the area manager for a large bank laughed at me when he saw what I did, in saying how little bankers know. Well, yes, the financial institutions, they don't want, if they know this, they don't want to share it, because they can't make any money if you decide to do that. And that's why it makes it this much more important for us to be sharing this message. But he probably really didn't know. And that's why this is so important. I have a friend who was a financial advisor. She said, I had no idea. I had no idea that this was so powerful. And so that's why I do this. I mean, we even need to educate them. They really don't know. And if they do know and they're not telling you, it's because they're greedy. And I don't like them.
Well, yeah, because they're not going to make any money telling you that. And the thing that I would say is, so I stand to make maybe 12 grand this year. Yeah, my daughter's looking. She goes, I want that much money. She's pointing at the screen. So I look to make about 12, maybe a little bit more than that this year. We just don't know. And then maybe it'll be a little bit less. But I basically almost doubled my income each year. And so if I do that next year it will be 24,000, and then the year after that it'll be 48,000, which is way more than I make now. So I'm not looking at, oh, you've only made 20 grand in 3 years. I'm looking at, how is my money increasing through this company? And yes, they're paying for my gold and silver, which I'm definitely in for. And yes, I would go with our company if I had to sell it in an emergency, even if it took 14 days, because we get the best price. I would just have to, and it depends on how emergent the emergency was. The last place I would sell it would be the pawn shop. But this is one of the things we were saying. After seeing those statistics, does your financial future seem more challenging? It should, because if you're staying in the same job, you're not just going to pay off all your debt in 5 years just because you're doing it for 5 years. But why aren't your financial professionals telling you? And like what you just said, the truth is they do not want you to know. They don't want you to know. And how unfair is that?
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. They went into that business and the way they make money is by having you buy stock and in the housing market and all that other nonsense. But I could never be a banker.
Well, and the bankers are hoarding gold and silver right now. They've got no problem doing all that. They don't. They're telling you not to worry about it. In fact, Bank of America, I think it was saying, "Oh, you can trust us. Put your money in a savings account." They're really out there saying that right now.
I know, it's very unfortunate, and like sheep, they're doing it. That's why we gotta just keep spreading the message, you guys. Whether it's 7K or not, they need to be learning about sound money.
Well, you just made a great point because I do tell people, even if you're not buying it from our company, I'll answer questions. Email me, talk to Amanda or myself, because don't you think it would be pretty unfair if nobody had ever told us? No, let's say it was a different business. Let's say it wasn't 7K Metals. Who cares, right? Somebody told us. What they did is they came to us. They cared enough about us. They wanted to help us. And imagine if they would have said to us, "But you got to buy from this company or else we'll never help you understand this." They would have never said that to us, not the people I know.
Right, absolutely. But I do like to encourage people, even if they're, checking out our prices and, they're trying to weigh their membership against the prices and see if it's going to come out the way they like to see it. There's so much more to a membership at 7K than just our bullion. Now that's when this mess settles down a little bit with the corona, we're going to see, our prices get better, but it's just simply lack of gold and silver. So it just kind of is what it is right now. But, as a member, you get all the education. You get all the education you possibly ever want. You don't have to go out and look for it. It's right there. Um, you can get it. I mean, simply for a business person, they're going to pay out the butt for a corporate Zoom account, right? Okay, so with your membership, you can get one for $10. There's people paying $500-$600 for the Zoom account we get for $10 a month, and they're paying that for the year. But that still beats a membership right there. Now with our Sound Money wallet, I mean, there's just so many benefits to being a member. We have health insurance now.
Yeah.
And
yes.
How many people need health insurance? And it's not even insurance, it's a healthcare plan. So we're encouraging good health, and you're covered, and it's extremely affordable. It's by Aetna. If anybody ever wants to look that up, Aetna, it's the best. That's what we do here. We give the best that we can give. So there's just so much. You can have a gold IRA here. The tax benefit itself, the 1099 tax benefits itself, far outweighs your membership by far. If you buy a membership for $359 and you aren't able to write off $359 or more than that, because obviously right away you can write off your membership fee as a business write-off, but then you need to fire your tax accountant and find a new one. I can hook you up. I got a good one. But just the business write-offs alone, whether you're making money or not here, there's just so many benefits. I know that it's difficult to spend that kind of money right out the gate, but I just encourage everybody to just take a look at everything we have to offer, not just the gold and silver bullion prices.
What a good point.
Look, I share this with people, and by not even realizing what I was doing, I earned a trip to Cancun, right? So then I go to Cancun, first time I've ever been anywhere in my life, by the way, and I'm 40 years old. Then I go to Cancun, and they give me a gold coin as a thank you.
Oh, geez.
I mean, what is that worth? I mean, the membership's worth it. Stop thinking about it. You're going to think until you turn purple and never going to make a decision. And no decision is still a decision. I just really think people need to just dig a little deeper and stop finding reasons not to, look for the reasons to.
Man, boy, do we have some of those. I get people that I don't know if they can ever be. They've got so many, they want to find a fault. And I'm like, well, you're going to find one. You're going to find one if you want to find a fault. But if you just want to use what's good about it, and I think most of my team is like that now, that listens in and is a part of this. I think that most of the people here are like, I'm glad I'm doing it. I'm glad I'm a part of it. But even still, probably not quite digging into as much as is offered. Like you just said, there's so much even like I said, I haven't even looked at the events stuff in a while. I didn't even realize they were still doing coffee with the leaders or whatever on Saturday. And these aren't long calls, you guys. These calls that we showed you on these events are like 15 minutes. They're not very long. It's not that you got to sit here and listen into this long call that's going to take an hour. Because I know, oh man, I don't know about you, but I was invited one time to a Melaleuca conference call. Did I know it was a conference call? No. I was invited to this thing. It's just a thing. Come check it out. It's really cool. And we had wine. I mean, they had nice house, all this wine, all these snacks, and then we sit down on a 45-minute conference call to Melaleuca. I'm like, that's not how you do it. That's just not how you do this. It was so boring, and I felt a little suckered into it. So what we do is we tell people the truth. We're like, hey, I don't always have the answers, so maybe you should, hear somebody. Just listen to this 15-minute phone call, because I think I don't know about you, but I could go on and talk somebody's ear off, and probably most of it will go over their head.
Oh yeah. If they don't want to hear it, they aren't going to hear it. And all we can do is help, do our best and move on.
Yeah, well, I think that my problem is I'll talk too long, and I'll probably, that's why I like these 15-minute calls, because I'll just sit here and be like, blah 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 blah, and then I think a lot of it will go over people's heads. I'm not always that good at being succinct. I have to learn to just answer one question and stop. Like, answer the question and stop.
Yeah, I know that's tough. That's why you got to get that third party on the phone so they can shut you up.
Right, because these are people. So there's people in this. Hold on, that's too loud. Turn it down, please. Thank you. Okay. There's people in this company that you might think would not take the time to help. You might just start it or something, and you'd be like, oh, well, who's going to want to help me? I can't call. There's no one. Well, I guarantee you guys, there's people in this company that are probably one of the top. And when I say the top, they're not making a lot of money because they're just sitting on their butts not doing anything. They're very good at what they're doing in this company. And Tony Hubbard being one of them. If you talk to Tony Hubbard as a new person, and you found him on Facebook, whatever, and you said, Tony, can I use you to call you for something like this, and would you do that for me? And he didn't even know you, but he knew you signed up. Tony Hubbard would do that in a heartbeat. He'd be like, yeah, here's my number. And Tony Hubbard, you guys might not know, but he's really, really, really knowledgeable about gold and silver. He's been doing this for several years. He was part of a company even before this one, and he had a little bit of help in getting this company going. He's not a founder. He wasn't one of the guys that came together and said, let's build the company, but he had a lot of, they asked his advice on what they should do. And Tony was one of the first people, and his pastor friend, who sadly has passed recently, he was part of that too. They just wanted their advice, and then they ended up joining up with the company. They weren't even joined up as part of the business when they asked their advice. And these are, Tony Hubbard is somebody that he would just get on the phone, and he does it perfectly. Nobody talks about it better than Tony Hubbard, in my opinion. But I don't know if there's probably people that you love to use that are the same.
Yeah, I have several. Tony's one of them. I can even call up one of the founders, and yeah, several. Colleen, Tom Doherty. There's all you, Aaron. So
Well, that's a nice
we got a great
compliment.
team going. Whether we're actually on the same team, we're all on the same team.
Yeah, that's another thing, is you guys probably don't realize this, and the troll definitely didn't realize this. Amanda and I don't make any money off of each other. I'm not here showing you guys Amanda because I make money what she does, and she's not here with me because she makes money off of what I do. We make no money off of each other. That's not what it's about. We're just two people that have the same vision, that you guys to have the same opportunities that have been presented to us, and we've been able to take a hold of. And even, we've had our frustrations. We've wished we were making a lot more money than we are now. But when you really look back at it, I can say what you said is, wow, look at the amount of savings I have now. Look at the people I've met. Look at the friends that I have. Look at the network I've created of people who actually care about me and what is going on in my life.
This has been the best group of people in my life, too. I found my people here.
I wouldn't just a thing. Okay, so I will let us. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about regarding? We just wanted to kind of cover what sound money is, guys, and introduce you again to gold and silver if you're a first timer, but if you're also part of the company, all the benefits that, or not even all of them, we only touched on a few of the benefits that we love so much. Is there anything else you wanted to just close up with and say to the people out there, Amanda?
Oh, I just want to thank everyone for watching. This is a lot of fun, and I wish you all the best. And if you need anything, I'm here. I'd look forward to doing another one of these with you, Erin. I love you. I think you're just so awesome doing this for people. What a great way to share. So I'm just grateful and thankful to be here. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Erin.
Yeah, and I thank you. And I know that people probably know this, but this might have some buffering during the show because I'm getting my internet fixed hopefully in 5 days from now. But it will play smoothly later, except for there might be like a frame dropped or something. But normally it doesn't affect the sound. So if there was any trouble watching it now, thanks for sticking it out. And you can watch it later and it won't do that. The buffering stuff is only while it's live. So thanks for taking it out, all those people that are here. And you guys, Amanda is awesome. I put her link at the top because she's somebody worth working with. Like I said, we're not making money off of each other. This is because we care about each other. We like each other. It's great that we like each other. That's the biggest part. But I'm going to say it quick because I always like to give an invite, but I don't mind just doing it, and I won't make it long. So real quick, let's just bow our heads and pray. Lord Jesus, we love you first. You have brought an abundance into our lives. We would never have savings like we have. We would still be struggling, wondering if checks were going to bounce or clear. We would still be worried about what we're going to do about money, when we're going to ever get out of debt, and we wouldn't even know the first best thing to do. We just prayed, Lord, that we're shining your light when we talk about this. We know there's going to be people that don't understand that. But, Lord, for the people that have ears to hear and eyes to see, we hope somebody just clicks for somebody and they say, yeah, this is something I need to get into. And we pray that they'll ask a lot of questions and have an open heart and to hear us out and know that we are Christians first. We love you, Jesus, first. And that is what matters to us first. And this is part of that. This is part of spreading your message of how to help people, how to get them out, pull them out of the fire of debt and pull them out of the flames of the COVID mess that we're all in, that we have a way to help. So I pray that people will let us help them and we'll reach more and more every single day, and giving you all the glory, Jesus, in your holy and mighty name we pray. Amen. All right. Well, you know what, Amanda? Thanks again. And I know if I ask you to come back, you will, right?
Oh, yeah, anytime. I'd love to.
Okay, well, I'll let you get on with your night. You be blessed, and blessings to all the people in the chat. We're praying the full armor over you as well. And email me if you want to get a hold of Amanda. She's got a link at the top for her gold and silver. But we can also, what is your email? Let's put your email in the chat real quick.
Oh, I'll type it in right now. Amanda-Akers14@gmail.com.
There you go. So you could email her directly. She can send you the stuff. You guys, even if you're already members or not already members, if you want information on that wallet, email her. She's got it. I don't have it. You got to go to her for it. She would probably send it to me, but currently I don't have it. So get that from her. And with that,
I just emailed it to you, Erin.
Oh gosh, I guess I have it. I have it. I can't use that now. Okay, we both have it. You guys know how to reach us. And yeah, we're gonna let you guys all go. Peace and love of the Lord, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks, Erin.
Yep, bye-bye, sweetie.
Bye.